Hello my friends, today we will be taking a look at the very popular prime lens for Micro Four Thirds, the Panasonic 20mm F1.7 version 2. 20mm focal length, which is 40mm full frame equivalent focal length, is between the two most popular focal lengths, the 35mm and 50mm. Whether you like it is mostly a matter of preference. After a couple of days of using this lens, I found it to be a very useful focal length. It is good for some types of landscape photography, for product photography and environmental portraits. Maximal aperture of f1.7 also makes it suitable for low light shooting, and it is also a budget-friendly option. For current pricing you can take a look at the links in the description. As you can see, this lens is really tiny. It is a pancake lens. It weighs almost nothing, so it is very travel friendly. On Panasonic G9 it feels almost weird. It is very similar to using Canon 40mm f2.8 on full frame camera. I hope that I would be able to test it with new GX9. That would be a great match size wise. I have asked Panasonic for a review unit, but they didn't even bother to respond, so that won't happen. On something like G85 it is still a very good match. The build quality is generally okay, but it doesn't feel particularly premium. The rear part is made of some thin metal, the mount fortunately is metal, and the rest of the lens is plastic. The front element maybe feels a bit vulnerable, but it only sticks out while focusing, so that is not that big of a problem. It is not weather sealed, but that is not common with lenses of this type. This lens only comes with front and rear cap and a carrying pouch. The lens hood is not supplied and it is only possible to use screw-on lens hood. The only control element on this lens is the focusing ring. It is focused by wire, so the ring just controls the focusing motor. This ring is actually not as smooth as on other Panasonic lenses that I have tested. There is more resistance here, which may be either advantage or disadvantage depending on your preferences. This ring is also not sensitive to turning speed, so it doesn't matter how fast you turn it, only how far you turn the ring. The most interesting thing about this lens is actually the autofocus. With Panasonic cameras and lenses reviews, I usually say that the autofocus is very fast in stills and not that great in video. With this lens it is almost the opposite. Here it actually works better in the video. Despite that this is version 2, the autofocus motor inside of this lens is very old and quite slow. You can definitely see it in stills, especially in the low light. The hunting with this lens is pretty bad. In good light it is significantly slower than with other Panasonic lenses that I have tested, but it is usable for less demanding situations. The problem is that when I attach it on the G9, the autofocus continuous doesn't work. It will just write switch to autofocus single. Strangely, the autofocus continuous does work in video and it actually works quite well. There is a bit of hunting, so Panasonic DFD doesn't work here so great, but the speed is actually very good with the G9. There is a bit of autofocus noise, you can definitely hear it. In my opinion, it is not that bad that it would ruin the footage, but it will be picked up by built-in mic or shotgun mic. And now let's take a look at the optical characteristics. We have to keep in mind that this is a pancake lens, so there have to be some compromises, but the 20mm f1.7 is quite sharp lens overall. Wide open at f1.7 the central sharpness is good, the corner sharpness is average, but it is still perfectly usable for publishing on the internet. At f2.8 the sharpness increases, the central sharpness is actually very good, although the corner sharpness is still not great. f4 is the sharpest point, the central sharpness is still very good at f4 and the corner sharpness is also quite good. At f5.6 the results are similar, at f8 there is already a bit of diffraction and the sharpness decreases from there. Regarding the contrast and character of this lens, at wide apertures up to f4 the contrast is just average and the colors are quite accurate but also a bit dull. There is also some vignetting left, even though that it is corrected in camera. So generally I would only recommend to use apertures below f4 if you want to blur the background or in low light. Around f4 the picture is a lot better overall. To sum up, Panasonic 20mm f1.7 version 2 is a very compact pancake lens, the build quality is quite good, the optical characteristics are good overall, There are some more impressive lenses in this regard, but considering the size, it still provides very good size to image quality ratio. Whether I recommend this lens or not depends on whether the autofocus in stills is acceptable for you. Other than that, Panasonic 20mm F1.7 version 2 is a good lens, a lot of fun to use thanks to the size and the weight, and it is especially suitable as a complementary lens to the kit lens for low light situations and for shots with blurred background. So that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. I hope that you liked this video and that you found it to be useful. Stay tuned for more videos and maybe consider subscribing if you don't want to miss my future content. I appreciate your feedback in form of thumbs up or thumbs down. If you would like to ask anything or share your opinion, please do so in the comment section, and see you next time.